Take a Ride podcast. I'm your host here, Starks. You can find me on my Twitter handle. It's at Starks_industry. You can also find me on Instagram, One Closing Hero. I'm not here alone this evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you may be in the fantasy world. I have the three-man running the wing, LT the Sage. How you doing today, brother?
Doing good. Three to the dome. Already know that's my signature. Ready to go talk about some of these surprise East teams tonight, brother.
Nice. This episode in particular, we got the YouTube channel back up. Hopefully this episode is a little bit better and crisper. We're still working on things in the background. We had some technical difficulties in the last episode for the YouTube channel, but hopefully this one is a little bit more clear for those that are watching the YouTube channel. So we're going to go over some surprise teams for the East. We went over the surprise teams on the West last episode. And then also we may juice an orange on a player or two on another segment, and as well as get to the clutch shots. This is a low slate of games. We won't touch up on too many of the games. We might touch up on some players. But with that said, I'm ready to take people on for a ride. And if you guys can check out newlifefantasy.com, you guys can join the mailing list. That way, when an article is dropped, you can receive and be notified via email or text on your phone, and also join the forums as well. We have a listener league that we're prepping to do and getting you guys ready. The website's a little bit changing just for this month because we have to do it for the Christmas love that we got going on in particular. And check out the new article that I wrote. It's the how should say it? Oh yeah, selling players high in the Dynasty format. So selling high like hotcakes, right? So there's players that I put on this article that's starting to getting a lot of views actually in a short amount of time. So the artwork I did, check that out on newlifefantasy.com, and you guys should take a look at that read. I expand not only in Dynasty, but I give you if you should sell high on any of these 8 of the players in a redraft and points league. So it's something that you guys should take a look at. Can get you that juice that you need for the week. So again, let's go ahead and get actually before that, you guys sub-zero that subscribe button on YouTube, hit that bell, comment below. Also give us a thumbs up on the YouTube website, and at the same time the podcast, give us a subscribe in that too to help us out to continue to give you guys daily content. So I will pass you the ball there, LT, to run that offense on the surprise teams in the East this year.
Yeah, so we're going to go through the top surprise teams in the East. And for me, I'm going to actually start with the Orlando Magic. Orlando Magic is 10-11 right now. They're in the 8th spot in the playoff run right now. And they're going to be fighting for that 8th spot the rest of this season. And the reason why they're a surprise team for me this year is not because of so much they're 10-11. They're 500, but they should probably be way lower, right, Starks? As far as the types of injuries they've had this year, Vooch. As far as kind of the play, I think Aaron Gordon hasn't played up to what they thought he was going to play up to. They added some offseason.
Or maybe what you thought.
What I thought he was going to play to. We got Aminu.
You and Jacob, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. Aminu and a couple others that were added. They're not providing any type of value to the team, right? And so I just thought, based on all these factors, they would be at the bottom, but they're not. And the reasoning for that is one of the fantasy gems of the season, Starks' own Jonathan Isaac. Jonathan Isaac has been killing it this year. He is a small forward, power forward position player, but he's actually top 5, I believe, right now in blocks on the season. And it's just crazy. He keeps, and Starks has said it a couple weeks ago that he may slow down, to expect him to slow down, but he's not, right? He's still getting almost 1 to 2 about 2 blocks a game, continually for his averages. And if you see it right now, he's at 2.7 on the season. Absolutely crazy. And he's even upped his points total as well. So he's one of the main reasons why this team is continually close to 500. Also, we have the guy himself, Evan Almighty, or I mean Evan Fournier. My guy, look at him. Look how smug he looks. He knows he's been putting in work. And he's been going on a tear the last couple of games. If you look at his points totals the last couple, man, 30-point game, 32-point game, 31-point game. In points formats, you can't get any better than this guy in the last 8 games. He's killing it for you. So you just look at those numbers. I mean, they speak for themselves. And before I know we're not juicing the orange yet, but I'm juicing it right now. And our brother. And look, I'm juicing it hard. Look at this. 30 minutes per game. He started off with an injury that we thought it was an owie. Guess what? It's a powie. That's right. That makes sense. But he 30 minutes, 19.8 points right now he's averaging. Part of that is because of the bodies that they've lost, but he's up 4.7 from last year's averages so far. So keep an eye out for him. I didn't mean to juice that orange so hard, Starks. I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna pass the rock over to you, man.
No, I was trying to find a dictionary. I was trying to look up Powie, man, and I don't think Powie is a word. So if you play Scrabble, you would have got no points. I would have challenged you on that.
Hey, man.
You would have probably lost your points.
I would have definitely lost points there.
What? Oh, man. Listen, yeah, you was juicing that orange, but hey, that's all right, man. Sometimes when your player comes across, you're probably going to juice that orange. It only makes sense because just like when you were talking about Jonathan Isaac, I was feeling pretty good and I was almost going to touch up on them even more and juice that orange, but I won't. I will say this, though. Orlando, like you said, with the injuries they've had, they are a bit of a surprise team. Vooch being out, that definitely puts a damper on them, but really has it. And then obviously, like we talked about Isaac, how well he's doing. Now, your boy Fournier, I hate to break the news to you, Sage, but whenever you have a chance to check out the sell high like hotcakes, your boy Fournier might be on that article. Just to give you a spoiler alert, he just might be in there.
I see him right here. Yeah, I see him. Look at him. He's looking at you, Starks. Like, why am I here? He's looking at you.
So I mean, he's a player. I'll kind of share, some of the article, at least for Fournier in particular. Just like what LT said, I actually surprisingly agree with him in a points league. If there's anything, I'm going to hold Fournier in a points league. Redraft in Dynasty League, I'm going to sell him like hotcakes, man. I don't think it's sustainable, but like LT had, highlighted on a points league, it makes sense. But again, you guys check that article out. I don't got too much more to say about Orlando, but I will say this: Markelle Fultz has been coming back in a good way. He's looking a little bit better, and it's going to be a legitimate thought process on when Vooch comes back, what this team could become. And Mo Bamba, I just think that he needs a little bit more time and to get opportunity because he had a double-double last game with 4 blocks. So if he gets the time and he's injury-free, which is going to be hard, he could be a solid contributor for Orlando. So I don't know if this is going to be sustainable for this team in particular, but they are definitely an interesting team. But I'll pass you back the ball on one of the next surprising teams there, LT.
Yeah, definitely. And so I'm going to go ahead and touch up the East. Pretty much everyone's relegated to the bottom here. To be honest, there is one team on the bottom here that I wasn't expecting to be this far down. That's going to be the Detroit Pistons. So the Detroit Pistons, they have their, and you look at their roster at the beginning of the year and you think, okay, they're playoff bound for sure, right? They're definitely going to be getting into the playoffs, maybe fighting for those top 4 to 8 spot seeds, but they're relegated to the bottom of the barrel in the Eastern Conference right now. And I don't know if you saw the highlights. Did you see the Blake Giannis? The stuff going on with those two guys?
No, I heard of something weird with them two. Can you tell the listeners what happened? I missed it.
Yeah, so I guess Blake thought he was sweet, did a move on Giannis falls down. Guess Blake thought he was flopping or something, and as Blake walks back, he just steps over him. Steps does the old Allen Iverson step.
Allen Iverson over Lou, Tyronn Lue.
Man,
No.
Giannis did not like that at all. He felt some type of way. Went on to bust their heads open, right? So that's the thing. Like Blake did all of that, and then Giannis went for 33 and something crazy, man. He basically blew him out. But that's what we're talking about here. Reggie Jackson, where you at, dog? Right? Where you at? The biggest Markieff Morris. He's been the weakest brother of the bunch, right? This year, Tony Snell, Snell you later. Like this team had some decent names on it, and you thought that they were going to be at least decent. You weren't expecting them to win any championships, or you at least wanting them to be in that playoff picture. Right now, they're out of it, and at full strength, they're playing worse, almost with Blake in the lineup than when he was out of it. So, Starks, is there anything specific about the Pistons that you're surprised about how they're not playing up to the names that are on their roster?
Hey man, kind of like, man, it's another thing. It's like you touched up on the first article, and then the previous one I did going on Blake Griffin. The regression is coming his way, man, and it almost like, I hope it's not true that he's making the team worse, but he's not the same player anymore. He's starting to regress, and you're not going to get a lot in return from him. And I had a lot of listener questions. I wouldn't say it was controversy on the article that I did, but I know I was expecting a little controversy. Surprised I didn't, but I did get one person that was pretty upset about the article, because it's like, well, what Blake Griffin, what are you going to get? Or, I don't want to trade him because, like, I wouldn't want someone like Luke Kennard in a dynasty format, or I wouldn't want someone like Taurean Prince in another pick, or who's another guy that or even Otto Porter. Otto Porter was probably the best out of the bunch to get in a dynasty format. But I just say this. I know these names are not the sexiest because we know Blake Griffin's name still holds value in fantasy. I get it, right? But the thing is, he's not on the floor that much. He's already missed games this year. And at the games he's been playing this year, it's not too good. The regression, there's no way around it. It's there, and it's happening now. But Detroit, this is a sad situation. I'm agreeing with you. I thought they would be a little bit better, but it is still early in the season. I mean, we're 26% of the season done, but this is tough. And I don't know what I will say this. They need to give Christian Wood more time on the floor to help them out. I also believe that, Blake Griffin could be, I don't want to say he's slowing them down, because obviously he's still a good player, but the question is he really that good anymore? So I'll leave it there. Hopefully Detroit will get better, and I'll pass you back the ball if there's anything else you want to touch up on, or go to the next East game or East player. Or team.
No problem. I'll say one more thing to that. That this team, unfortunately, seems like they have a lot of like good, solid players, but as we're starting to see, when it comes to actually competing at a high level, you need that transitional type player, right? And one of the transitional type players that we've talked about the last couple of weeks is Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic has taken that next step, and he's become a LeBron-esque type player, and now the Mavericks are looked at as a top tier team just based off of Luka. Now he has Porzingis, but let's be honest. After Porzingis, who's really on that roster? There I can name. There's more names on Pistons than on the Mavericks. When you compare those two teams together, big names, notable names for sure. And so Luka, you need a transitional player in order to compete at a high level. And we thought Blake Griffin was that, but he's just not that type of player anymore. And Drummond's a good player, but he's like a Rodman player, right? He's like Rodman-esque. So, he needs a Jordan still as well. But I'll go ahead and move on to the next team. And we're going to go up higher. And this is just Starks, this is going to be just a personal surprise East team. And this is going to be the Toronto Raptors. Now, Starks, I'm going to say that this is a surprise team because I was not expecting them, after Kawhi left, to bounce back like they have. They've pretty much turned over that team. As we look at the roster, pretty much same team as last year. They all gotten older. They had a couple of notable pickups, but after Kawhi left, I thought Kawhi was the engine that was, kind of driving that team. And they've come in and they've just regular scheduled programming, top five, top four, top five in the East. Just as a quick one, this is just me personally. What do you think about the Raptors? Do you think that this was always going to be the case, or were you worried about them without Kawhi coming into this season?
Why are we agreeing so much? This ain't right, man. Something's weird. Something's going on. No, I'm actually with you on this 100% too. I also thought, like, with Kawhi leaving, now I thought Toronto would still be decent, but not this good, right? Mm-hmm. And just like you said, it seems like they have the same cast. I wouldn't say castaways, but they still have the same cast on this team in particular. So I guess I could say this. Some of the castaways, like Norman Powell, is getting a little bump up, right? Or another castaway. I mean, Ibaka's a castaway. I guess he does okay here and there. We know Gasol is a real castaway right now, but he actually had a decent game tonight, a weird one. But, Pascal Siakam, we definitely knew he was going to take a nice usage rate, and we knew he was going to be a nice fantasy player. But did we know he was going to be this good this year? I didn't, right? We also did not know Fred Flintstone Van Vliet would be this good this year. And I thought he was going to be an underrated player, but not this good, man. So I'll say this, though, LT, like in the playoffs, Fred Van Vliet, he did look like a man amongst boys in the playoffs. Like from time, he would give you those flashes, but you'd be like, oh, well, he's just kind of coming from the bench and, maybe he'll just be a good player, but he's looking like a true NBA starter, right? Yeah. And I think that's another thing that's injecting this team to the next level, because right now, he's been a top 25 player, and we can juice the orange all down Pascal, but we have to give respect for what Fred Flintstone is doing, Van Vliet, that is. And then, of course, your boy OG Anunoby, although he is kind of slowing down a little bit, but the guy is still producing too, and he's starting, and he's that castaway is not a castaway anymore. He's putting up the production too, so we got to respect that, man. So I really like what Toronto's doing. I'm with you, LT. I'm definitely surprised on how well they're playing this year, man.
Yeah, man, I'm in full agreement with you, brother. I know that's rare. That's very rare. Yeah, and I'm surprised you didn't mention this guy, but one of the main reasons that they've been so good is on that bench, coming off that bench, they got your boy Boucher coming off the bench, applying that pressure, applying that defense, applying those things that you love to see from that second unit. Rondé Hollis Jefferson, I know you hate to say his name as well.
I hate to say it,
but he's been producing, and it's crazy. Some of these, Rondé Hollis, to me, that's a fantasy gem in my eyes, because to me, he's always a sneaky good fantasy player when he gets the time. But just seeing him produce on that team, I'm very interested to see who comes out on top in the East here. Now the Bucks are, of course, number one. Boston, number two. We knew Boston was going to be up there. But number three, Starks, is the Miami Heat.
Man.
Miami Heat. Alonzo Mourning, right?
Exactly.
Mourning, right?
Was it Tim Hardaway?
Tim Hardaway.
Exactly.
The regular Tim Hardaway.
The regular Tim Hardaway. The regular one. The real one.
the real one. Jamal Mashburn, right?
Oh my God!
Yeah, exactly. No. It's Bam Bam Adebayo, Jimmy Bucket Butlers. You got the hero Tyler, the hero. You got your guy. Who's that? Who's that guy again?
The Nun of Kendrick Nunn.
Woo! He's going to church. None, right? And he wants to hear none of it. And
you're right.
And right. And then Winslow, Oleanic.
Oh my God.
These guys.
Yeah.
The
Dragon?
Dragon? Look, and in fantasy perspective, we were talking about this point guard carousel, right? But for somehow they're making it work. Somehow, they're making it work on every given night. They're playing the right people at the right times. They even it's impressive because Myers Leonard is their starting center most nights, and he's awful. He's awful. He's so bad, but they're winning still. They're winning. It's crazy, man. So big ups to them. I'm gonna pass the rock over to you if there's anything specific about this Heat, this surprise Heat team in third place right now in the East.
Yeah, man. You was borderline juicing on orange, and it makes sense because I'm going to juice the orange on Miami Heat too because they need the respect for what they're doing. And then you named all the players, and then obviously Duncan Robinson too. Like all these players under the radar, right? Just doing these things. And what's crazy is what's his name? Man, Derek Jones Jr. hasn't even been really playing, and he's a low key upside guy that could be decent too. So. And where's Deion Waiters? Is he waiting tables? Like, what's going on here? Right. So you got so many weird things going on in Miami, but they're doing so well. And Jimmy Butler, just like you were talking about him the last episode, and before you were talking about, it's like we take him for granted in a way. And before you was on one of these podcast episodes again, when it was just me and Jacob, LT, I was just like, we got a listener question. Basically, what you said was like, does nobody appreciate Jimmy Butler? It's like, this doesn't seem like nobody talks about him. The dude is on a killing spree, on a good one, not a bad thing, right? But the thing is, Miami, I think it's worthwhile to juice this orange. They definitely deserve it, for what they're doing. And I'm just going to go on this ISO rant. Dallas Cowboys, it hurts me to just see you guys like this. I'm a Cowboys fan, as you guys probably know, but I can't take it. But getting back on the basketball side of things, Miami Heat, I love what I'm seeing. I honestly hope they could do something. If we're going to assume they make the playoffs, or we're just going to assume that. So if they do, I would like to see them get far in the playoffs for what they have, because it seems like, like you said, Bam Adebayo, like, my goodness, I'll get off the orange tip there, but Bam Adebayo is a guy that gets you those big man assists too, out of position stats with those assists. He could get high assists at any time, but we know that it's probably not going to be accustomed to that because Jimmy Butler's there. But we know that Bam Adebayo has that ability to do that. So I'll pass you back the ball on the next team there, brother. Surprise team.
Yeah, probably got one more surprise team, but I just was going to say with the Heat, the thing about the listener question with Butler, I mean, he's serving, right? He's serving you fantasy owners. He's the Butler for your team, right? He's doing it all. And one of the big things I just saw with one of his stat lines is that 2.4 steals, 2.4 steals a game. That's I hate to say this like this, but that's Van Vliet numbers, right? That's right. That's Chris crazy. Dunn. That's Chris Dunn numbers. He is stealing. He is a perennial superstar, and he's stealing at that rate. That's like old Chris Paul type stuff, and so you love to see what he's doing. He is definitely a fantasy asset. People who actually took him, held on to him, stuck with him, they're grinning from ear to ear. And so I'm going to go ahead and go to the next team. Final. Steal the ball real quick. Go ahead.
James Harden, check out this stat that I just received here. Since 2013, James Harden has the lowest usage rate tonight. I think it's at 15.4 usage rate. That's his lowest since 2013. Wow. That's outrageous. But I'll go ahead and pass you back.
He needs a break. I mean, he needs a break. But nah.
So I'm really trying to think in OKC. Was that 2013? I'm assuming.
That has to be an OKC year. Has to be a game. Has to be.
Yeah. But go ahead.
Ever since then, he's been just running into people and coughing up threes. So. But I'm gonna save the best team for last here, and no, I'm just kidding. But I'm last surprise team on my list here, and they're on the borderline. They're right there with Orlando, borderline in the playoff hunt. To be honest with you, I do believe they will make it. This is a hot take early. That's the Charlotte Hornets, Starks. And the Charlotte Hornets are 9-14, as the Orlando is 10-11. and they are right outside of that 8th seeded spot. But I think that the Hornets can go ahead and usurp them. But the Hornets, man. So the thing about the Hornets that you love about fantasy and in basketball in general is those underdog out of nowhere stories, right? Devontae Graham crackers. He is now probably one of the best passing guards I've seen in a long time. One thing I wanted to as a stat, let me try to find it real quick. His assist numbers it's just out of control. He is killing it in that area. And that's so weird, right? So when 7.7 assists. So Terry Rozier isn't that pure point guard. So I didn't think about that before. Someone needs to pass the rock. And it's this guy, Devontae Graham, December 4th. Look at this stat line. 9 assists, 2 swipes, 33 points, 3 for 3 from the charity. He doesn't hurt you there. 16 attempts, 10 snipes. I think Starks was talking about that one. Mm-hmm. Almost all his points came from snipe. All he did was shoot threes. It floors me to see this guy. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know what his abilities were. I didn't know what type of game he had. I knew they needed, they were talking about him earlier in the season, but I was like, yeah, Devontae Graham, whatever. And to see him explode like this, it's amazing to see those type of stories that you love to see. And this team with those two, him and Terry Rozier, I think they have the chance to sneak into the 8th spot this year. I'm gonna pass the rock over to you, Starks. What do you think about Charlotte and how they're not at the bottom of the basement this year? They're actually fighting for playoff spots early in the year.
Yeah, so I guess there it is. This is where we come to a head. My rival right there just basically took the juice of the orange segment on Devontae Graham. I was going to basically juice him up again, juice the orange on him. So perfect. So let me ask you this, LT, because I remember asking you and Jacob on a podcast episode a little while ago. Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask you this again. If it's still the same, that's fine. If it's different, that's fine too. Who do you take in the Dynasty format, Devontae Graham or Terry Rozier?
Ooh. Right. That's tough. It's still tough, but it's still tough. Oh, man. Okay. So I'm gonna play my Uno reverse card here, and I'm gonna play my Uno reverse. I am gonna go with Teddy Grahams himself. Even though it's hard for me to do because I do love a sure thing, but you can't ignore him. Look at him. He's looking right at me. He's like, you gotta pick me. Yeah. Gotta pick me, say. Yeah. He has shown me since we had that conversation, he has shown me that this is for real. This isn't like a, 1 game, 2 game. Look at these field goal attempts, 22, 19, 18. Oh, he's averaging almost, he's shooting at 14 or more, right? He is the second guy, first or second guy there. And he's scoring like it. I would take him only because now he's, what's he, 21? What is he, 22? 21?
I think he might be a little older. I think he might be even 24. Potentially.
He's 24. I have to check. Yeah, he was born in 95. So yeah, he's 20. He's 24, 23, 24. Yeah. I'm switching over to Graham Crackers for age purposes, and especially like you stated in the Dynasty format. Wow. Yeah, I got Graham now.
Hey man, that's good, man. See, I'm going to ask Jacob that question again, probably Sunday when he comes back on to see if he still feels the same. You guys know where I was at with Teddy Grahams taking him over, and I do like Rozier too. Just to let the listeners know, but I think it's Teddy Grahams, Devontae Graham. But I want to say this real quick, since you already juiced the orange on him, you got me there, rival. I want to say one more thing about Graham is here. I guess since he took my, since he basically juiced the orange, I can't do it. But what I can say is, because we pretty much covered all the East team surprises, but so we can kind of segue into the juicing the orange on a player. But instead of me juicing the orange, LT will still juice the orange on a player. But I want to kind of give you guys a tip for like a license to deal. It's been a while since I kind of did that, to give you the logic on maybe trying to create an opportunity or being innovative on a trade. So as far as Devontae Graham in a dynasty format, I'm going to be almost, and this is going to be hard for me to say, I'm going to be aggressive to try to get him. And one of those guys that come into mind is, I know this is probably going to be a controversial call. And you guys know I'm big on Victor Oladipo. I've always been. But I think this time, in a dynasty format, you might be able, when Victor Oladipo comes back, and actually before he even comes back, because his timetable is still unknown, right? But the hype and echo starting to come out like, oh man, Indiana's good, everything, and he's going to be back on the court. And again, of course, I still love Dippo to this day, but you might be able to trade him for Devontae Graham and some draft picks. If you're building for the long term, and I know this is controversial, but I don't know if LT remembers a few years ago, actually several years ago, remember LT, we were in a one-man keeper league, and it was tough because I had James Harden and Kevin Durant at the time. Yeah. I don't remember if you remember that. And I had to make a controversial call, and I took Harden over KD. And this was like when KD obviously was the best, like bar none. But for some reason, it was that Jones fracture that I just didn't want to touch. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of concerned. And he was healthy coming into the year. And guess what happened? He re-injured he fractured his Jones again. Yep. So although it looked crazy for me to take Harden, it actually benefited me, right? So I'm not saying that this same situation is going to take place, because those players are completely different. But I might take the risk on trying to trade Oladipo to get Devontae Graham and maybe another piece and maybe a draft pick. You might not be able to get all that, but if you can get Devontae Graham and maybe a first rounder in a dynasty format, I would be all about that business. And I think you could probably potentially do that now. You might be able to get a little bit more. And that's me kind of opening up the opportunity to license to deal. And again, I don't like to try to trade Dippo, because we know Dippo is potentially a top 25 player or better. It doesn't seem like that's going to happen this year because he's coming off an injury. Mm-hmm. We get that. And maybe long-term, that's still a risk. But what I am concerned is, we know that he relies a lot on his athleticism, but I still think Victor Oladipo will be fine. But if you want to avoid that possibility of a re-injury happening, then this is your time. So I'll pass you the ball there, LT, if you want to juice the orange on somebody, or if you have something else you wanted to say, man.
Yeah, so I'm going to do a quick juice the orange. This is going to be a Sage Eyes juice the orange segment. This isn't going to be a ring that orange out all the way, type of segment. What I am going to do is I'm going to Sage Eyes you guys to two players that you want to keep track of the next couple of weeks. And one is from, and what I'll try to do for these segments is take a look at some players or games that are going on, not really go over the whole game, but at least go over some players. And one of the players we talked about a little bit with Jacob, the White Knight, and you, and the last one, Starks, is Davis Bertans. Yeah. Davis Bertans is, if he's available in your leagues, guys, 12-man leagues, not 10-man leagues yet, just because of he's not starting. He's not starting just yet. 12-man leagues, points leagues. If you have room on your bench, pick this guy up. He is killing it, especially if you need threes. He is just killing it right now. He reminds me of Caruso, right? He looks like he's about to sell me insurance or something, right? He doesn't look like a basketball player, but he is balling right now. Absolutely balling right now. And so go Sage Eyes. I'm juicing the orange on Davis Bertans, giving you my Sage Eye approval. Pick him up. Look out for him, especially in those redraft formats. That's what I'm looking at. He is definitely adding, especially in the three area. He's definitely adding some value there. And then the second guy I want to talk about, I got to talk about him. And I wish I could put up a picture of a tank, right? Frank the Tank Kaminsky. Oh, man. I gotta talk about him. let me go ahead and pull up some information here on Frank the Tank. Tonight he went 7 for 15, 2 snipes, 4 free throw, 4 for 4 from free throw. He doesn't hurt you there. 2 steals, 20 points. He's starting right now, and I believe even though there's some injuries there for Aaron Baines, I don't know when Baines is going to be back, guys. I really don't know when Baines is going to be back. I don't know his timetable for coming back. So pick up Comiskey, man. Pick this guy up. Even if it's just for a couple, 2 to 3 more games, when he's gotten the minutes, he is killing it. He's doing great for you. The last 3 games, 33 minutes. He had 2 blocks, 12 points, 26 minutes, 23 points, 5 rebounds, 1 swipe. And in this past game, he had 32. So while he's starting, deploy him. He gets my Sage Eye approval as well. I actually watched some highlights. And he's playing big out there. So pick him up if you have some room. Big man, as of course, I'm looking for big man this year. So Frank the Tank Kaminsky until either DeAndre Ayton comes back, or don't drop him when Baines comes back either. Do not drop him because they're doing so well with them in the squad. They may just roll him out there till Ayton comes back. So keep an eye out for that, even when Baines is healthy. So I think Ayton has about 7 or 8 more games to go. So just keep that in mind. And that's my juice in the orange. Sage Eyes looking at a couple players you may want to pick up there.
Nice. That was good, man. Nice. I like the Sage Eyes looking at the players that need to be picked up and utilized for those fantasy owners and GMs that can typically pick these type of players up if they're available. So you guys, we'll kind of start getting to the clutch shots, particularly. I guess the clutch shot is if you can at least touch up on one of those games, not that one, just a random one real quick. Mm-hmm. I will say that Devin Booker, it's funny because it's like we don't really talk about him too much, and maybe it's just because you don't have to go to that game, but I'll just talk about Booker real quick. But Devin Booker, I think he had like 44 points in particular in this game. The thing is, it's almost like we expected him to be almost like a top 12 player this year. Mm-hmm. And maybe he's not there right now, but that doesn't necessarily mean he can't be. So I just wanted to at least point that out. And, this Houston game, Harden, I did talk about earlier, his usage rate was the lowest since 2013, which is crazy, really outrageous. But your boy, Ben McLemore, man. And I think your guy Danielle House was doing pretty good at one point.
Yeah,
in the game, but
House is back. House played tonight. He played 26 minutes. It didn't start. Maybe they're trying to bring him on a little slow. But if you're bringing someone on slow, I don't know if you're playing for 26, 27 minutes. But he played well in those minutes, 16 points, 3 assists. Didn't get you those stock stats, but 3 for 3. He's playing well. Hopefully he gets back entrenched in that starting lineup here in the next couple of games.
Nice. So, yeah, we'll get to the clutch shot. So the clutch shot I'll take this evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you may be in the fantasy world, just kind of a dynasty player. Again, just talking about Chris Boucher a little bit, just like what LT had mentioned about Toronto being the success story this year, that we are surprised at how well they're doing without Kawhi Leonard. Chris Boucher is a player in a dynasty format. If you're going and playing the long game, he's definitely a player that is going to produce. It's just going to be about when Marc Gasol, when that dinosaur is going to finally just, be extinct, right? But I don't know how long that is, but he's going to play hopefully the rest of this year. Ibaka is all right, but I think it's going to be easy for Chris Boucher I wouldn't be surprised if he supplants him here soon. Mm-hmm. It could be this year. It's not likely, but could it potentially happen? It could. And this reminds me of the situation of Pascal last year or the year before, where he was just like, I don't know, it was last year. He was just like, could he be this player? I mean, he has the potential, but if he gets the time, he'll be fine. And that's how Chris Boucher is. But Chris Boucher is a for sure fire if he gets the minutes. So hopefully, I could see him as a potential top 50 within the next. It's going to be 3 to 4 years. That's only if he gets the time, and that's going to be tough sledding if they don't. But the potential that he could be is a top 50 player. So Toronto, just man, they are excellent. So that's my clutch shot. And I'll pass you the ball there, LT, if you got a clutch shot, man.
Yeah, I'll just do a quick rundown on this Philadelphia-Washington game. Tobias Harris came in killing it tonight, 33 points, 1 block, 3 assists, 7 rebounds, 4 for 4 from the free throw line. They looks like Korkmaz is entrenched as that starter, but something to take a look at, Starks. We were worried about him, but my Bully with 30 minutes tonight on the play, playing 30 minutes, and that's, Josh Richardson was injured tonight, so that's probably why he got an extra run. But he produced with 2. This is why we love this guy. 2 steals, 2 blocks, 5 points, 6 assists, 1 snipe. He didn't do that much in the points category, but man, 2 blocks, 2 steals, and 6 assists. With not really hurting me in any other areas, I'll take that every day of the week as a back-end player. I hope he supplants Korkmaz for playing time eventually, but that's neither here nor there. And then I wanted to talk about your guy, Orochimaru. Yeah. 11 for 18. He had a game tonight, led the team in points. 4 for 4 from the charity, 1 snipe, 7 rebounds, 2 swipes on 27 points. A lot of 2s. Then we have Bradley Beal doing Bradley Beal things, a double-double with rebounds. And then Ish Smith with 19. And Davis Bertans, my guy that I was juicing the Sage Eyed Oranges on, 25 points, 1 swipe. Like I said, 7 threes. This guy is for real with the 3. So keep your sage eyes on Davis Bertans. If there was a if there was a kind of like a line of who to get first, Davis Bertans. Rush to get him before Frank the Tank. This line, this thing that he's doing. Thomas Bryant's out for what, 3 weeks, Starks? I think they said now. 3 weeks. 3 weeks. Just take that into consideration. He's going to get playing time. So I will go ahead and pass. That's my clutch shot, Starks. I'm going to pass the rock over to you, brother.
Yep. And then Mo Wagner got to start with 11 rebounds. So that's another guy you could potentially pick up there in Washington. So you guys make sure you subscribe to the podcast. It helps us out. We're available in pretty much all podcast formats. Make sure you check out the website, newlifefantasy.com. We changed the website a little bit because it's Christmas time and we want to give you guys gifts. And as you can see, we have 3 articles in the works. Sage Eyes, a present you may not ever get, but hey, it's there. Dynasty Fighter, I'll be working on for the Christmas special. And Jacob is going to be working on Silent Night with the K, so that's going to be an interesting one. So, yeah, we have our Christmas tree up on the site. We like to do things fun and innovative and different. So we like to have fun. Obviously, we are essentially do things as experts, but we like to have fun. I think that's important because if you're not having fun, then why are you taking it so serious? Listeners, listeners, we love you. But yeah, subscribe to the podcast. I already said that. Make sure you join the forum, join as a member, join the mailing list, so that way you guys will be notified as quickly as possible when an article comes out. Not only do we do fantasy basketball, we do football, baseball, we talk about the faith. So if you guys have questions in regards to any of that, we're here for you, right? And then at the same time, our YouTube channel that the Sage, he's put in the work on the YouTube channel. So make sure you guys subscribe button with the Sub-Zero, right? And then hit the dinner bell. It keeps you, you can be notified when an episode comes out to see our faces on there. Also, at the bottom, comment below. It helps us out. Anything that you guys want to hear or see on the next episodes in the future, and give us a thumbs up. LT, we're halfway there, I think, on the Sub-Zero button. I know that you wanted that thing for at least 100 subs to do that 2K challenge thing. Is that right there, LT?
Yeah, it's funny you took the words right out of my mouth. I was just going to say 50 subscribers. So we appreciate you guys out there who subscribe to the channel. I do know coming up to this podcast, we had about 2 or 3 or 4 people subscribe. I don't. I know it wasn't based on that last video, so this video will be a lot better. But I appreciate you guys continue to jump in there. A lot of our other work is coming in. Is definitely people are coming in, loving it. Some of our older stuff. So please, if you have any insight, anything you suggest, we work for you. So let us know what you want us, what information you want us to provide you so we can provide it for you. Other than that, brother, you can find me. I'll go ahead and give you my handle. You can find me at Instagram _Sage Network _. You can also find me on Twitter at Sage Network X at Twitter. I am off this weekend. I am celebrating. I just want to put that out there. I am celebrating 10 years of marriage. So that is so this weekend I'll be doing that, and I appreciate you guys, all the love, everything for the fantasy side of things, and have a good night, man. See y'all tomorrow.
Yeah, so congratulations on that, LT. And I was going to say, man, we probably won't, to kind of give the Grinch approach on the Christmas. You guys are probably not going to see, and I can do this because it's my rival, so I can take shots, and he can always take shots at me. But to be the Grinch here, you might not see the Sage Eyes article until maybe after Christmas. So if you are spoiled and get that charcoal in your present box this year, I do apologize, but you could put that on him. So with that said, you guys can follow me on my Twitter handle. It's at Starks_industry. You can also find me on Instagram, One Closing Hero. Give me a follow. Ask me any questions. I will get to you at a prompt time. And Jacob, he puts a lot of work into the articles as well too on the website. So check out his stuff. He does the streaming options and the waiver wires. And be expecting that this weekend. He's ready. This is already strong content that he did for this week. In particular, that he put out the back-to-back games for this week 7. He also did players that was these players are under owned 50%. In either Yahoo, Fantrax, and ESPN. He puts those players in order who he feels like is the best. Excuse me. So it's definitely good content. You guys check it out. And again, we're recording while games are going on. And Drew Holiday, he almost posted a 5x5 game if I read that correctly. So that's, man, with 23 points, which is crazy. So I know he was one of those players we had mentioned to buy low on, and he definitely that window is shut and closed. Is that right? Did he have 4 steals?
Yeah, 5 steals, 6 assists, 7 rebounds. Yes, sir. Just didn't have 1 block.
Yeah, I thought for some reason it was going to be the blocks. I guess that didn't happen. Maybe it was just pipe dream. But no, you guys, we love you guys. God bless you. With that being said, have a good evening, morning, afternoon. Take a ride.